Hello. I think it's been a little bit of a mystery as to what I actually have been doing in this shop. As of thus far, nothing has really come out of it in any major way that would seem to suggest that I'm making any money out of this shop. It's mostly just been fun for the most part up till this point. But it doesn't mean I have been idle in pursuit of something bigger and more profitable, I guess you could say, but ultimately just more interesting to me. What I have here is a pile of what I can only refer to as prototypes of things that I have done and things that did not work out but are part of the path forward. So what exactly is that pile of junk? It is a pile of junk that is related a bit to this, which is actually these little clamp racks back here. I think that one is the only one that is actually a functional version of one of these. But that all being said, this was like the first almost finished prototype, and the way it's constructed is consists of a back plate with mortises in it, a top plate also with mortises, and then a bracket which pops into said mortise. So it goes like that, and this is assembled thusly. A few screws, and you now have a functional clamp rack that can be fastened to the wall. So this was quite a journey to get here. This is a lot of time I spent on it. I'm getting all of the bits and pieces right. It's still not done. This is only the first version of it. So as I said, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, a lot of, what the shape started out as. So here we are. You can see a sort of evolution of my bracket design. So this is the original bracket design. It is huge. It was way bigger than it needed to be. And this is the newest one. So quite a bit less material and ultimately better looking and more functional for what we're actually using it for. So I went from this. I thought I was going, and that wasn't even it. I thought I was going to be sandwiching the materials together like this. So thus I had location holes for screw heads to go in. So I thought I was going to be doubling this up, but this plywood actually turns out to be pretty strong. So I abandoned that immediately. It was also a colossal waste of materials. Then I went down a size, I think. Let's see if we can find one of those. Nope. Anyways, I started to downsize it. So I went from this down to this at least. And at least reduce the materials a bit. Then I thought, well, I need to reduce my backplate size even more. And I don't even think there is an intermediary between here and here, but you can at least see the ultimate length of everything stayed somewhat the same, but I shortened it a bit down here because the backplate needs to be, in order to look right, needs to be as long as this piece. So it just seemed like another extra waste to have more backplate than we really needed. So it was shortened again into this final shape. And even that had some bumps in the road. So initially, I didn't put this in any sort of discernible order, of course, because why would I plan anything? So this was the original one before this. So as you can see, the nubs are a bit shorter. You would think this is sturdier, but what this caused, do I have that anywhere? I do have it somewhere. There it is. Okay, so it was initially made to fit this, and this. And of course, in the realm of prototyping, you don't know how everything is going to fit together, or you forget something and things just don't fit. So this was a learning lesson, and I corrected that. There was also an original pocket that was in the bottom of these that I had designed, because originally it wasn't at these little castellations, we'll call them. Originally it was just a straight slot in the bottom just to locate it, so when you put it together and you drill it together, it's not wandering about. And then I had to figure out the back plate. Actually, it's probably easier if I show you that on this one over here. So initially, this one, the back plate is on top, and you can see this just butts up against the back plate, and there was a channel, and that channel is under there. But that seemed like it would be a little hard or annoying for people to assemble. You know, if I'm gonna sell these as kits that you can assemble, like if I want to sell them as like a flat pack, ideally you don't want people to screw up. Like, think about like IKEA furniture. You don't want people to screw up the assemblage of it. So this was too loosey-goosey. I mean, you just have, I have a bunch of these brackets, so I might just figure out how to just sell just brackets. But you know, it could be located anywhere. You could drill it off center, and so then it was goofy. Okay, so then here's the next thing that blunder I made when making these is, now there's a back plate. As I showed you, that back plate butts up against this. So where does the back plate go? The back plate either has to rise up to the top of this, or you have a gap. So then you have to cut that groove deeper so it sits proud of that and hangs over the back. So that was another problem I ended up having to solve. And so that's where this little key came from in this part. So there's no misalignment of the back plate. It's always going to be in the center and always going to be aligned. And then you do other stupid things. Did I already throw that out? I might have already thrown that out. My original back plates. Oh, no. Everything's getting mixed up now. Let's see if I can find the original back plate. Where is it? I don't know. Nothing like just waiting on me to find something. Either way, I had forgotten that the way this was assembled is this is not centered, and I had the holes centered on this, so that was another blunder. And I had similarly put a channel in here, but that ended up just being unnecessary. It was an aesthetic thing, but it just complicated the geometry of everything, because then I had to, when I recessed that, then that recessed there's another learning mistake, is having a misaligned CNC machine when you go to chamfer and you have a little bit of a boo-boo. Oh, look, little dog bones that I had on there. That was for clearance so that the corners, anyways, I got rid of that channel, so I don't need those dog bones anymore. This was my first version of this, which again, this looks much cleaner. And so this is off the machine. No secondary touch-ups have been done to this. Anyways, so many failures. Not even to mention all the little dumb things that happen along the way. Machining mistakes. Let me see if I can find one of them. Machining mistakes, things that one of the things that I had done to utilize more plywood, so there was empty spaces on the sheets, was to cut out little hooks. And even these are a little bit of can be more taxing on the machine than you think. And then so, sometimes you'll have, this was probably just me missing the router. I probably threw out all the actual ones that were damaged, but you can have stupid little oopsies like that with the router. I think this was done by hand, and I don't want to do anything by hand because it's just not very uniform. When you do them by hand, you get all sorts of weird artifacts like that. Like if you just don't apply the pressure right, or you slip and something stupid happens and you get a thing like that. Things like when you're taking them out of the sheet of plywood, I was using a hammer and chisel and just knocked a piece of that off. So, that one's not saleable or salvageable in any way. So ideally you want them to be, this isn't even cleaned up. This has a little bit of fuzziness on it, but the chamfers are even. The chamfers are nice and clean all around. It's hard to see. It's a little, but what I'm looking for is just that minimal work after it comes off the machine. So many hours of sitting there and figuring out stupid little problems, how to get all your pieces just to fit together in a way that is looks good in the end. And again, this is just, it kind of holds itself together a little bit better, but, and 3 pieces. So the eventuality is to have different versions of this. This is the one for the smaller clamps, and then I have versions that are buried that are for that's the same one. I am looking for this one. So there are different racks for different clamps sizes. This is just one of the first of several products I'm gonna start offering at some point in time. But I'm excited to finally be at a place where I think that this is mostly ready to be sold. I don't want to put my name on it if I am not happy with the way it looks and the way it goes together. So should be ready to start selling these in the very near future. That's one of the things I've been working on. I've been working on many things, and because I have no ability to stay focused on any one thing, I get distracted, and then I get a little bit tired of working on stupid little details that frustrate me. So I need to go work on something else for a while, and then I come back to this. So today was the first day where I think I have most of my programs set, and I can make at least this version. I still have, like I said, I still have to do the other 2 sizes of this, but that's by far and and beyond much easier than the path that I've taken. I've traveled so far. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if there's any demand for this sort of thing. It was a design challenge. It was a thing that I needed for my shop, and I had already made these racks, and I thought, well, what if I originally had anticipated making them by hand, but I had also had fever dreams of owning a CNC machine, and well, I mean, obviously I got one, and which made all of this even more of a reality, because cutting this out by hand is a bit of a pain. So that's really my reasoning for going for something like this, as opposed to something a little bit more decorative like furniture, which more people would need. But do people want furniture? Furniture is an aesthetic thing, and this is a functional item. But to make this, I mean, to make for even a woodworker, to make this on their own with their tools, I mean, even a professional, a very good woodworker, which I am not. I'm just a guy with a lot of patience, and I'd rather work on the computer and do all my work once rather than do it every single time. I mean, it's the same as making jigs, I suppose, but I would rather work in the computer. But, you know, to make this as a woodworker, you would have to spend quite a few hours, because, you know, getting spacing evenly spaced, you have to set up a bunch of different jigs. If you want to make these consistent and clean like this, and you want to do all these little different operations to get this to fit together anyway like this, you would need to spend probably about as much time as I did on it. And so the idea is, you know, I value a carpenter's wood shop, or like any kind of shop's value at, you know, if you commissioned any shop to do something, you're paying anywhere from $60 to $100, maybe up to $150 an hour, depending on the item that you're commissioning them to make. So I value most woodworkers' time at $60 to $150 an hour. And would you be able to make this for $25? And the answer is no, unless you have a CNC machine and you've done the work that I've done. So I think that's kind of the price point I'm looking at for these. But, you know, not that I'm not expecting anybody watching this video to buy one of these. That's not the point. The point is to just show what I've been spending a lot of my time on lately, and the things that I've been spending my time on. And if you find that interesting, great. If not, also great. So that's it. Goodbye.